Hello everyone. How are you guys doing? I'm doing fine. Oh, God. Thank you. Question? This will not be in the final exam or in class exam. But you're going to have similar questions, similar equation with a triangle. They'll give you triangle with 3 sides and they'll ask you to solve for x. Not this, but this type of formula.
No, that's how I do it. Like I write the question down.
So what problem for quadratic? I don't think there will be any quadratic what problem. But there will be many other problems like solve the triangle, solve the inequality, solve those. Okay, everyone. Do you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, complaints so far about anything? Nothing. Okay, great. Do you remember what you learned the last thing yesterday? Trial method. Would you like to try that first by yourself? Okay. We did one example on the left page. We have that. And try that by using this. And then we are going to go over that. Christopher. It's 92. This time is 2 points. Ready? Okay, 12. We split 12 into which two numbers? 2x, 6x. And 15? 3 and 5. So if you pair them this way, we have 6x and 3 gives us 18x. 2x and 5 gives us 10x. If you add or subtract, do you get 8 from here?
Yes.
By addition or subtraction? We want the result to be positive. So which one has to be positive, 18 or 10? 18. That means 10 has to be negative. And since 10 is negative, we got 10 from multiplying 2 and 5. 2 has to be positive by default. Then what sign 5 has to have? Negative. And we got 18 positive from 6 and 3. So what sign 3 has? Positive. Then we pair them, 2x and 6x. We multiply 2x with negative 5. So can you put them together inside one box?
Yeah.
So negative 5 has to be here. That means plus 3 has to be next to 3, next to 2x. So which one is correct choice? 6x minus 5. Easy, right? Who needs help? Who is confused? Anybody? Nobody is confused? Okay, then we have 1, 2, 3. Let me put all of them together. Are you guys done copying the left? Okay, enjoy these 3. One of these definitely will be in the final exam. And definitely one type of these will be in the in-class exam, which is next week, Thursday. So try all 3. I'll give you around 5 minutes. Bless you. You. Random not here, Liliana here, Martin here, Christopher here. So here, Matthews here, Eliza here, Angel, oops, Angel, it changes it. Amanda here, Maria here. Lee here, Exona here, Jason here, Kitty here, Bim, not here yet. Kayla. Here. Rachel. Here. Calisius. Here. Mariam here. Kay here. Chanel here. Janelle, no phone. Jasim, not here yet. Jonathan, not here yet. You need to focus from the given multiple choice. So, this one. So 18, we have 3, 3, 6. So you only need to look at 3 and 6. This doesn't work. And for type 5, we have the maximum number is 5, 7, and 5. That is definitely 5 and 7. The sign you don't put it yet because you don't know which one is minus, which one is plus. So you decide the sign later. And I just play with them like that. This term is negative. One factor is negative. That's the middle term. Is a positive. It's positive. It's a smaller factor. It's a bigger factor.
Yeah.
Because a bigger number minus a small number is still
One factor.
so the time so you found out make sure you have to say the names. I know. Let's make this up. The middle term is positive. Positive. That's a smaller number. Pretty crazy. Do you need tactical? Do you need tactical?
That's crazy.
Like the more you see, you actually anyone can speak to the it's very constant.
Oh, yeah, we did.
Wait, I have a question. Interesting. If you come back to circle string one, if you sign up like that means two factors of x, right? Three and then two twice.
Oh.
You want 27 qualities and 20 qualities. Yeah. And since 22 is 40, so 7 is the quality. And since 15 is the negative, so 5 is the negative. Okay. So this is right? So you have 3, you have to multiply 7, so 3 and 7. Yeah. Yeah.
No, okay. 3 times 5. If you the class was pleasant, you will check out. What is
And one is positive, one is
And
negative. And this is positive. Teams of similar numbers. And then we put them into two triangles. This one is correct, right? See, I see. See which one gets.
Oh, never mind. I'm an idiot. I got it. Okay.
Okay, so.
First one. Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
So I did 35, no, 42.
You're not dividing.
Then what do you want?
Yeah, no, that we pop each other. There, I can see which number. It was supposed to, they throw the numbers, do the work.
Have it in front of you so that everything gets done.
I got it, it's okay. I said it
I have one extra.
already.
This nice, colorful.
I'm still learning.
Thank you.
Just see.
The last one is what? No, it's different.
Okay.
So how am I gonna see the numbers? Yeah, 28. So 478, 4. So it's here. That's 3.5.
So then that's for but then you want one of your I made it like this. Thank you.
So good. Now you're going to just quiz. So let me do this. 75 is. What? How about you the same number twice? If you do 4, he has to do it 4 times. Why are you doing
You got the factors correct. It's just the sign of it.
6, 7, 42, 25, 15, 41, 27. You change this one. It should say. So 42 has to be positive.
Oh, I see.
Since 42 is positive, that means such a positive. And then that is really easy. So 27 exactly to even say. Means we don't want to. So the positive is after you can subtract 15. So 3 versus 5. So 5 8 to 7. You're almost.
So here's the quick.
You have 42 for
The gap. C term is negative, which means one factor is negative. 1, 2, 3, 1. Is it positive or negative?
17.
So positive that the bigger it was positive, the smaller one's negative.
And then
If this was negative,
so
in this case it will be a negative 5.
and you can always drag by going
3 times negative 5, 6 times 7. Right? Positive 6 times 7 is positive 42. And then add them up, right? You get.
Awesome.
So you get positive 7.
And you just sort of do so the bracket is minus 4.
If
17 minus 1 plus 17 minus 1 plus is 4 which is 75.
and then if C is It's positive. I mean, both factors are positive. So you look at this. This is negative. But it's positive. So this is term C is positive. There's a whole term. Yeah. It's positive. Negative. Yeah. That's one plus.
I think I'm wrong.
C term is right. So one part is positive. So comes negative and
means 7 Hey, you want to go? Right, let's do them together. Your only problem is what? Figuring out the sign or multiplying. I had someone saying something, you guys, right? Huh? What is the problem you're facing?
Mine is the signs. Like I forget which one is positive and which one is negative.
Okay. So here I'm going to tell about more about sign. So 18, so we have 30, we have 3, 3, and 6. So 18, definitely 3x and 6x. And then we have 5, 7, 5. So this is definitely 5 and 7. So let's see which pair gives us 27. This is 30 and this is 21. Do we get 27? No. So my pairing is wrong. So 6 goes with 7, we get 42x. 3 goes with 5, so we get 15x. Now, Kathy, from these two, which one is bigger? 42 or 30, 15, which one? So the bigger one always gets the middle sign. So this has to be positive. That means, what do you want to do with 15? Add or subtract? Subtract. So since you're subtracting 15, we got 15 from 3 and 5. So what sign 5 has to have? Negative. Great. And we got 42 from 6 and 7. What sign 7 has to have? Positive. That's it. Your sign problem solved. And then you put them together. 3x and 6x. We multiply 3 with 5, so you cannot have them inside one box. So 5 goes in the other one. That means 7 has to come next to the 3x. And that's all. You can always check. We can always multiply to check. So let me do the checking for you. 3 times 6 is 18x squared. 3 times negative 5 is negative 15x. 7 times 6x is positive 42x. And 7 times 5 is negative 35. When you combine them, you get negative x squared plus 27x minus 35, same as the original one. That means the two choices, the two answers we have is correct. So our correct choice is 6x minus 5. So in the exam, this is what you have to do. First, give me both of them and then pick the correct one. You cannot just pick one of them and then guess you might know the other one. So 1 point, 2 points, for choosing 1, 3 points. This question will have at least 3 points in the exam. If you're missing something, you're going to lose points. And I want you to use this method. If you use AC method, I'm not going to give you any points. Why not? Because from my experience, when I give students this question, they use AC method backward. Means this is what they did. How is AC method, guys? Come on. This is what you're checking. I didn't say check you up. I said factor. So when I said factor, you have to factor from the given one, not by checking, tell me, oh, these are the two factors we have. How'd you get them? From somewhere. I don't see your brain, so you don't deserve the points.
So the method that I do it in is I basically write the other things in the other direction. Is that right?
As long as you show me your playing thingy, how you're playing with the numbers, I will accept this. But if you just give me this without doing any playing anything, just this, no points. Because how do I know where from you got them? Did you get them from your brain, from your neighbors, or from Google? How do I know? See? So show me by this that you played with the numbers, and that's how you come up with these factors. And I'm very strict, okay, about this because I have seen enough bullshit in my life about this question. So I'm very strict now. If you don't follow my direction, expect a C0. Okay? So I'm actually strict about 2 questions in this class. And except them, I'm very generous about every other thing. One of them is this one, and the other one is inequality. When you do the inequality, you have to follow my rule. And when you do this question, you have to follow my rule. That's it. Only these 2 cases, you have to follow my rule. For everything else, I don't care. Okay, the next one. We have 1, 3, and 5. Definitely, we have 3 and 5, both of them, so they win. 15 is 3x and 5x. How about 42? 6 and 7. So we have 6 and 7, 6 and 7. Now, this is 30, this is 21. Do you get 17? No. So this is wrong. So we have 35x and we have 18x. Katie, which one is positive? Which one is bigger?
35.
That means 18 has to be what? Positive or negative? Good. Since 18 is negative, 6 has to be what? And then since 35 is positive, 7 has to be? Great, you solved the problem. The problem you had before, you're not going to have the same problem again, right? Now you know how to work with the signs. So 3x and 5x. Who has problem arranging the factors? Okay, Matthew. Whatever you play, you cannot put them together. That's the rule. So you played 3 with 6. So you cannot have 3 and 6 next to one another. So where do you have to put 6? The minus 6. It has to be next to the 5x. And then 3x will have what number? Good. Whatever you multiply, you cannot have them together. So your negative 6 be here and positive 7 be here. So what is the correct choice? The second one, 3x plus 7. Who would like to do the last one? Volunteer for the last one. Angel? Okay. One and 17. And the first one is 4 and 7. 4x, 7x. How do you multiply them? 4 times 17 is 68x. 7x. So 68 has to have what sign? Negative. Because we have negative here. So 7x, are you adding or are you subtracting? Plus 7x or minus 7x? Plus. So you get total negative 61. So we have 4. Oh, I didn't decide the sign yet. So since 68 is negative, what sign 17 has? 17 has to be negative. And since 7x is positive, what sign 1 has to have? Since 7x is positive, So 1 has to have which sign? Positive. So now we put them together. One of them is 4x, one of them is 7x. What goes next to the 4x? Plus 1. That means minus 17 has to be there. And we are done. Any question? Who is still not comfortable with this method? Anyone? So remember, this is best when the choices are given. If the choices are not given, this is one of the bad methods because we have so many choices to play with. But good for you guys in the final exam, it will be multiple choice. And also in the in-class exam, I'll give you the multiple choice. With this, you're done with section 6.3. So far we did 6.1, 6.2, and 6.3. So I didn't assign the homework yet, but make sure you still do this homework by next week, Monday. And now we are going to do factoring trinomial with any leading coefficient. Basically, we are going to do AC method. So the difference between quadratic formula is when you solve for x. Here you are not solving for x, you are factoring. So for factoring, there is no quadratic formula. Okay? Quadratic formula comes only when it says solve for x. So here it says factor the polynomial. When it says factor, you have GCF, trial, AC, and what else? Grouping. So see, we have these 4 methods. So here, this is same as, it looks like it's same as trial, but we are not going to use trial because they didn't give us multiple choice. Yes, you can use trial because these numbers are prime numbers. So trial is doable here. But instead of doing trial, I'm going to show you AC method. AC method use the grouping method. But what do you observe first before you even go to AC method? When you look at this polynomial, GCF, anytime you see GCF, you have to factor it out first. So what's the GCF here? Definitely x. So when you factor out x, what remains? 13x squared minus 25x minus 2. And now we are going to use AC method. It's called AC method because we are going to multiply A term with C term. AC means multiply 3 with negative 2. We get, 13 times negative 2. What is 13 times negative 2? Negative 26. And now divide 26 into 2 pieces. When you combine them, you get 25. So how are you going to split 26? Which two numbers multiply to negative 26, combine to the middle term, negative 25? Perfect. Negative 26, positive 1. So we are going to rewrite this 25x using those two factors. Negative 26x, positive 1x. That gives us negative 25x. And we are going to keep everything else same. We have a GCF x, bring it down. We have 13x squared, bring it down. We have minus 2, bring it down. So we rewrote 3 terms into 4 terms. Handa. Oh, we are thinking. And when you have 4 terms, how do we factor? Grouping. So we group them into 2 groups. We still have our x, bring it down. And then we are going to group, factor by grouping. In the first group, what do you observe? What's the common factor? What's the GCF? 13 from the number and from variable. So what remains in the first group? We have 13x squared minus 26x. We pulled out 13x, so we have x and then minus 2. If you're confused, how? Look at this. We have 13x squared and we took out 13x, means we're dividing by 13x. 13 cancel out. In division, we subtract the power. So 2 minus 1 is 1. So you're left with x. Yeah. And I'm going to actually show you another SE method, a shortcut SE method, which is kind of weird. But this is the normal SE method. So from the first group, we pull out 13x, so we left with x minus 2. What's the GCF in the second group? 1, including the sign. You have to take your sign and then you factor something. So we have the same thing, x minus 2. We still bring down our GCF x. And now in both groups, what do you see? What is the common factor? So you factor out x minus 2, and then you have 13x plus 1. And now you're done, you factored completely. If you want, you can use trial method here. Trial method you can use here because they are prime numbers, so you don't have much choices to work with. So trial.
Do the brackets.
No, I did that to separate my x. You can use parentheses. So 13x squared minus 25x minus 2. The quadratic. 13 is a prime number. The only two factors 13 has is 1 and 13. So 1x and 13x. 2 is also prime number. The only two factors 2 has is 1 and 2. We want 25, so 13 goes with 2, we get 26x. 1 goes with 1, we have 1x. The combination has to give us 25x. So which one is minus? 26 or 1? 26x or 1x? This has to be minus, this has to be plus. Since 26 is minus, we got 26 from 13 and 2, so 2 has to be minus. So we put them together, 1x and 13x. We multiply 13 with negative 2, so you cannot put them together. And we have the same thing. X minus 2, 13x plus 1. This is after taking out GCF, okay? Not before GCF, after GCF.
So if we do the trial and guess method, we're not putting the extra x in the back. Oh, no.
You do, because look where I started from.
Oh,
I started from here. Okay, try this one by yourself. I have two, so try both of them. So it is in groups. This is the first group and here is second. In the first group, 1, 2, 6 percentage here. Definitely as between 30 and 26. No, when you pull out it is here. Remember, you have 30 and 26. So what can you factor out? By which number you can divide both 13 and also you can divide 26. So between 30 and 26, you DCF is 13. Between x2 and x, you DCF is x. So in the first group, you DCF is 13x. So you have 13x squared, but you choose out 13x. So 13 cancel out. From x squared, you get only x. And then you have 26x, but you put out 13x. Since you're dividing the 13x. 13 goes to 26 twice, and x cancel out. It's x minus 2. So you have 13, see, you have 13 positive. So 14 has to be positive, and the 1 is to be negative. Phoenix house. Here is specify something equal to this. You can not just okay. But the trial, I'm going to specify use trial number. So you have to use trial.
This is not problem.
It is trial.
Oh, it is wrong. Got it. So, okay.
I can see what as long as I can see the work.
Not bad. Okay.
That you mean.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to create see that was it. But for trial, I'm going to specify use trial. I'm going to treat it like wait, see. Trial, if you can trial, you have to use trial. For instance, yeah. Yeah, you to do such, such.
I got
Moving when you go into two, I'm not going to stop.
Oh, you talking about the gas? You saw it.
If you do, right?
Well, you sounds. Like, you know,
I never know. Right. That's the second one. Yeah.
Go back to see what's the order of
It's the last one.
yes, but if I simplify this trial. Otherwise, you know, let's do that together. On the left one, what do you observe? What do you notice on the left one? GCF. What is our GCF? X. So we got 7x squared, 13x minus 2. And then let's use AC method now. AC method means what? 7 times -2, we get -14. And what gives -14 that turns into positive 13? 14 and 1. What sign 14 has to have? Which one is bigger, 14 or 1? 14. So the bigger one has to have which sign? Positive from the middle. The middle sign is always the leader, okay? It determines the sign for the bigger one. So because of this, 14 has to be positive. Then what sign 1 has to have? Negative. Now, SE method means turn 3 terms into 4 terms. So we keep our GCF. We have 7x squared, we have -2. But instead of this 13, we use these two. Positive 14x, negative 1x. The 1 is invisible, you don't have to write 1 if you don't want to. And then we group them into 2 groups. 4 terms means either GCF or grouping. So this is grouping. We still have our x. So we look at the first group. What do you have as a GCF in the first group? Eliza.
Wait. So
Definitely 7 from 7 and 14. And from x squared and x, what's the GCF? I am asking in this group, what is your GCF?
Oh, 7.
Only 7?
7x.
7x. So if you factor out your GCF, what remains in the first group?
X plus 2.
2. And now observe your second group. What do you hate about the second group? It started with negative. So do you want to start to deal with something negative? No. So you have to factor your negative. And between x and 2, do you have anything in common? No, that means you have 1 in common. When you have nothing, you have something, 1. So the negative 1x turns into what? Negative 1x divided by negative 1 turns into positive x. And then you have -2, you factor out -1, so this turns into positive 2. So in this second group, we have no number, no variable in common, so we pull out 1, and we don't like the negative because it started with negative, so it's -1. It means you're dividing all of them by -1, and both of them turn to positive. We still observe our 2 groups. Now we compare the 2 groups. In both groups, do we have any GCF this time? In group 1 and group 2, do you see the same thing? X plus 2. So we factor out x plus 2. So what is left? 7x minus 1. Now we are done. This is called AC.
Throw the x at the end is I should
It's
get
fine.
a different answer right now.
No.
Okay,
If you don't factor out fast, that means you have somewhere here.
that's square.
X squared and x. So this is normal AC method. Now let me show you a weird AC method.
Sorry, how did you get a -1?
Here,
No, 7x minus 1 is the answer.
both groups You have x plus 2, x plus 2. When you factor out x plus 2, you left with 7x in the first group. And if you pull out x plus 2, you left with minus 1 in the second group. So 7x minus 1.
Oh, I thought you switched the negative ones to positive.
Why do you want to switch?
Oh, it's what's okay. Oh, it's what's inside parentheses. That's negative. Okay.
So you pulled out a negative 1. So these negatives turn into positive. And now you're not taking out any negative. You're taking out only x plus 2 as a common factor. So you have 7x and minus 1. So you put them together.
Sorry. So if you pulled out the negative in the
We did it here. We pulled out the negative 1 here in this group.
What does that make the negative one positive? Like,
So from here, we pulled out negative 1. So this negative 1x turns into positive 1x. And this negative 2 turns into positive 2. And now you're not pulling out the negative, you're pulling out x plus 2. The pulling out now. Let's use question.
I was basically them show like that's the second one.
Yeah.
The one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like which groups are you dividing?
So we have 7x squared, 13x minus 2, right? AC method tells us to rewrite 13 terms, sorry, 3 terms into 4 terms. So we kept 7x squared and minus 2, but instead of 13x, we use these two. Positive 14 and negative 1. So positive 14x and negative 1x. When you combine them, we get positive 13x. Now when you have 4 terms, you have to group them into 2 groups. First two makes one group, last two makes another group. Now in the first group, our GCF is 7 from the numbers and x from the variables. So 7x squared turns into x because we pulled out 7x. In other words, we have 7x squared and we're dividing by 7x. This is what factoring means, we're dividing. So 7 cancel out. In division, we subtract the powers. So 2 powers minus 1 power gives us 1x. And then you have 14x. 14 divided by 7 is 2. X divided by x is nothing, 1. So instead of 14x, we have only 2 here. So our first group is done factoring. Then we go to the second group. But the second group started with a negative. We don't want anything to start with negative. So we factor out a negative because we want whatever remains is positive. The first term. So negative comes from here, and then they have nothing in common. So when you have nothing in common, you have 1. It means you can divide anything by 1. So that's why we have this 1. Negative is from the dislike thinking, and 1 is because they have nothing in common. So the factor of negative 1 means now you're going to divide each of them by negative 1. So negative 1x divided by negative 1, 1 negative cancel out, we're left with positive x. Here. Then you have negative 2, we are dividing by negative 1. Negative cancel out, so we're left with positive. So both groups, we pulled out something as a common factor, and now you observe that they still have something in common, x plus 2. So you pull x plus 2 out. In the first group, you have only 7x. In the second group, you only negative 1. So we put them together. 7x minus 1. So it's a grouping method we did before with the 4 terms, the same grouping method. But I know grouping method is kind of, people don't like it. So I found something weird, but cool. So weird SE method. It's called weird because it doesn't follow logic. Okay, that is weird. So we have 7x squared plus 13x minus 2. The weird SE method says, so we have this ax squared plus bx plus c here. Now in the weird AC method, we are going to rewrite this into this format. X squared plus bx plus ac. So this will turn into this. What does that mean? We are not going to write 7, we are going to write only x squared. And then we have 13x, we are going to keep 13x. But we are not going to write only c, instead we are going to write a times c. So what is a times c? Negative 14. And then we are going to factor x and x. Which two numbers multiply to negative 14 combined to positive 13?
Negative 114.
Positive 14 and negative 1. Okay. Now, if you multiply them, we definitely not going to get 7x squared. We started with 7x squared, but here, if you multiply, we get x times x, only 1x squared. So what happens to the 7? So that's why this is weird, because we are going to put 7 here on both of them. But then we have another problem. If you multiply now, what do you get this time? 49x squared. But how many x squared they gave us? 7 of them. So how do you solve this? Next square root. We are going to observe this. By putting 7, what is happening here?
Oh, you bring it down?
We can pull out a 7, right? Because this 7 gives us a GCF. So divide this by 7. Only this, because this has a problem, it is a GCF. So if you divide, what do you get? X plus 2. And the next one stays same. That's it. So it's weird, because you're doing something completely weird. First weird thing is we are not writing A, and instead of C, we are writing a C. This is our first weird thing. But with this, our life became easier because we factor direct. But when you factor direct, now you have to consider this 7, so we write 7 on both of them. But now we have a problem because we want 7x squared, but that gives us 49x squared. So we have to divide one of the 7. We cannot divide this by 7 because we end up getting a fraction. But if you divide this by 7, our life is simple. We have whole numbers.
That method always works.
Always. So this is weird method, but it works just fine like this method. So if you don't like a grouping method, use this. I actually didn't learn this in class in school. I just found it online. I was like, oh, cool. This is so weird. I never knew. But I loved it because it's shortcut. First, you ignore A, C becomes AC, and then puts your A on both of them, and then divide by your A. So, would you like to try this one with this weird method? Let's see what happens. This is A, this is C. So x squared minus, x squared minus 32x. 105. So 5 times negative 21, negative 105. And now, which two numbers multiply to 105 combined to 32? 105. So we have to play with the numbers a little bit. Definitely 105 is 5 times 21, right? That's how we get 105. But if you combine them, we don't get 32. So let's split the 21. Which two numbers gives us 21? 3 and 7. Now let's see if you multiply 3 and 5, we get 15 and 7. Do you get 32 from here? So 3 and 7 doesn't work. How about if you multiply 7 and 5? 7 and 5 is 35 and 3. Do we get 32 from here? So one of them is 32, one of them is 3. How about their signs? Which one is bigger, 32 or 3? What sign 32 has to have? Remember, the bigger sign always comes from the middle sign. So, not 32, 35, my bad. It's 35 minus 3. So minus 35 plus 3. Minus 35 plus 3 going to give us minus 32. And if you multiply 35 and 3, you get 105. So our life became easier, but see, we now have to do weird stuff. We have to put 7 on both of them. Sorry, not 7, 5, my bad. Because we have 5 as A. So which one you have to divide by 5? The first factor or the second factor?
First factor.
First factor, divide by 5. So what do you get?
X minus 7.
5x plus 3. That's it. If you multiply, you're supposed to get the same thing as the given one.
You show us the easy method.
Sure. You have to do the same thing again. SC method. So this is weird SC method. Weird SC method. And this is normal SC method. We have 5x squared minus 32x minus 21. So we keep 5x squared, we keep minus 21. AC means 5 times negative 21. We still have same problem. It's a big number, so you still have to split 5 and negative 21. And then we have 3 and 7. So 3 and 7 gives us 35 and 3. Okay, you have to do the same thing again to figure out which two numbers you have to put. So negative and positive. So you rewrite this using negative 35x and positive 3x. So we have 4 terms, means grouping. So you group them into 2 groups. What do you observe in the first group? What's the GCF in the first group? 5x. After you factor out 5x, what remains in the first group? 7. And now you're going to the second group. What's the common factor in the second group? 3, including the sign, okay? So what remains in the second group after we factor out the 3?
X minus 7.
X minus 7. Now still observe the 2 groups. What do you see coming in both groups? So you factor out x minus 7. So what is left in the first group? And then the second group is 3. Do you have the same thing? Yes, I do. So we are SC method, normal SC method. SC method is useful when your numbers are bigger like this one. 5, 21, they're a little bit bigger. So SC method is useful. But if you have prime numbers, like this one, 7 is prime, 2 is prime. For prime numbers, trial is actually better. You just have to play with the numbers. And if your numbers are very big, like 28, 17, those, then definitely trial method is better if you have the multiple choice. With this, we are done with 6.4. So again, your homework. Now we have one more section, 6.1, 6.2, 6.3. 6.4. Okay. Definitely all of this. Any question? Now, so what do you think about the AC method? Is it doable, annoying? What is your idea? What is your thought? Do you like it? You did, you not?
It's the sign.
Science? How about the weird one?
I like that one.
The legacy method? And how about the trial method?
I like.
So use the trial one only for the bigger numbers, bigger A, bigger C, with multiple choice. And then you don't have to use the trial one. But in general, trial one is useful when you have prime numbers for A and C. It's very helpful. And definitely if you have the multiple choice with big A, big C, then trial is better. Because in the AC method, we have this problem. When you multiply A and C and get something big, you have to play with your numbers again to come up with the two numbers that gives you the middle number. So that's the downside of the AC method. It doesn't work for the big numbers. It does work, but still make mistakes with the AC method for big A and C. So definitely try not to use that. So we are done with all three factoring methods for trinomials, 3 terms. And now we are going back to binomials, means 2 terms. Do you remember how do we factor 2 terms? What are the 2 choices we have? One is, how do you factor binomial? GCF, and what's the second method? Not grouping. Grouping is for 4 terms. How? Which method? Difference of perfect squares.
Oh, factor like with like the.
A plus B, A minus B, to stay. When you have 2 terms, there are only 2 choices. Either you have a GCF to pull out, or you have perfect squares to work with. So all of these examples are difference of perfect squares. We have x squared minus 25. X squared is its perfect square, so is the 25. So you can rewrite x squared minus 5 squared. So now you see 2 perfect squares and minus between them. So how do you factor them? We just take their bases, add them, subtract them. So x plus 5, x minus 5. That's all you have to do. We don't need any math. We don't need to rewrite anything. It's just simple. The second one is optional. I wrote 5 squares so that you can see what perfect square we have. Okay, what do you think the answer will be for the second one? X plus 2, x minus 2. Because 4 is 2 squared. So you have x squared minus 2 squared. So x plus 2, x minus 2. How about this one? X plus 1, x minus 1. See, factoring is done in one line. That's it. It's just like direct factoring. But here, we are using the perfect squares. We call them conjugates. When you have the same 2 terms, just their signs are different, they are called conjugates. So these are conjugates. Conjugates. So anytime you multiply to conjugates, you get their squares and minus between them. You get difference of perfect squares. Let's do these 2 together, and then you have 3 to work with. So, what do you think about D? Our goal is to rewrite this in this form. Because if you have, if you see this, then it's easy to factor. So inside we write 2x and 1 is 1 square. So what are the two factors we have? 2x plus 1, 2x minus 1. The factors are their addition and subtraction, their sum and differences. So when your x square is alone, it just have to write x, that's it. But when your x square is not alone, you have to think about something what makes the first term square. So 4x square means 2x, whole thing square. So our base is not 4x square, it's 2x. So you take the 2x, you add, and you subtract with the other base. Any question? How about the next one then? Perfect. But remember, 2 times means which two methods we have? What's the first method? Do you see any GCF here? Definitely 3. Don't you have anything to add in 3? Both of these numbers are divisible by what? 9. So you can factor out a 9 first. That's your GCF. So anytime you have a GCF, try to factor that out. Or you have to factor it at the end anyway. So we have 4a squared minus b squared. And now what do we have? What are our bases? So we have our GCF 9 and we have 2a plus b, 2a minus b. Because 4a squared minus b squared is 2a whole thing squared minus the b squared. So the two base, oops. The bases we have are 2a and b. So you add them and you subtract them. Who is lost? Anyone? Tell me. GCF, you have to have 9 because you factor the GCF first. Hmm?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it that way. You have to factor more at the end. So 36 a squared minus 9b squared. As you suggested, this is 6a squared and 3b squared. Okay, so 6a plus 3b, 6a minus 3b. But what do you see here? A GCF. What is a GCF? 3. What do you see here? Another GCF 3. So you have to pull out GCF twice. When you pull out the first GCF, what is remaining in the first term? 2a plus b. And when you pull out the second GCF, 2a minus b. And now you have to multiply these two because they are simple numbers. So 9, 2a plus b, 2a minus b. Now you decide which method is shorter. Yes, you can use both methods, but you cannot stop if you have a GCF. If you do stop, you are going to lose points.
And 4a squared minus b squared can be like 2 square a squared minus b squared.
2a whole thing square. Not 2, you have 2 square a square, okay, fine. But what is your base? 2a and then the square. So 4a square is definitely 2 square a square, no problem. But in here, what is your base? You have to have only one base, not two bases. So what is your base here? 2a, right? And then the square. So instead of writing 2 square a square, I can simply write 2a and then whole thing square. Because you want one single base, not two bases, a single base. Okay, you have 3, try them. And definitely in the exam, you're going to see this. All of this. AC method, trial method, perfect squares, GCF. You're going to see. Huh?
There you go.
No, I didn't do the review yet. I'm going to post the review. Oh, I have few more. Come on. So let me write all this together. 16x to the 4. Minus 81. And then x squared plus y squared. And then actually erase all of this. And never mind. Four questions. Why is that? You're done or you're thinking? That's wrong.
That's G. The bottom of the punch.
So what is fourth line? Think that as one number. 4 and 9. What square is 4 and 9?
Square.
No, what number square is 4 and what number square is 9?
Oh.
That's it. So you need answer. What are the two factors?
Oh.
Yeah. Where? Where?
There's two squares.
You have to keep factoring until you cannot factor it. This way you can do They have done that.
So.
And that's wrong, they just have to. We have 2x squared, and then what's the other number? 4. So we have 2x. 0. What do you have? 2x. When you factor them, you don't put the square anymore. Because 2x, whole thing square is that. So 2x, and you need to bring down your factor. So you have to keep factoring until you cannot factor anymore. Shut this is correct. Can you factor the more? And you have to bring down the factor. This one. What? So this 2 is factor of that. So you still have to bring this one down, right? Remember, the final answer. So what is the final answer? That's the final answer. But this is the factors for this one. What is the minus? So you have to bring this down here and then this, and then you didn't do anything, right? So this one is still, this is still a factor. So when you have this, the 1 comes into 2. Right? For example, this one, why did this work? In the final answer, why did this work? So you have 2 digits here. So that you have 3.
Oh, you simplify it.
So these are
This is a perfect square on top. That's how you get it.
there is no room for this is unchanged. You cannot change it, but still, there is no room for the square. It's all the same numbers. So you have to bring this down. So there is no room for 16. A big room for this one. So this one is unchanged.
Which one?
81. 9 times 9.
Okay, let's do them together.
I don't know.
The first 2 was easy. What's the factor for the first one?
X squared, no, x minus
X plus y, x minus y. So all you have to do is look at the bases. What bases they have? Now this one is y squared minus 2/3 square. So what are the 2 factors we have? The 2 base we have now is y and 2/3. Right? Chanel. Y plus 2/3. Y minus 2/3. That's it.
You divide this 49.
I didn't divide, I rewrote. What number square is 4 and what number square is 9? It's 2 and 3. Because we want to see the base for our square. What is the base for the square we have? because we need the square, the bases to be added and to be subtracted.
Okay.
Now for the fourth power, we want to see our squares because we need to add whatever we have here and there and subtract them. So how do we rewrite x to the 4? X square square. And how do we rewrite y to the 4? Y square square. So we need to see them because we need to add them, subtract them. So x squared plus y squared and x squared minus y squared. Now there is no rule for sum of the differences. No, sum of perfect squares. There is no rule for that. The rule says difference of perfect squares. It means when you have a minus, you can factor more. But when you have a plus, you cannot factor more. In that sense, this is not factorable anymore. So we keep it. It's not factorable anymore. But observe this one. X squared minus 1. Can you factor that more? This is same as this one, right? So what two factors we get? X plus y, x minus y. So instead of 2 factors, we actually have 3 factors. So in your exam, if you give me 2 factors, you are going to lose points. Because they have 3 factors in total, not 2 factors. So this part is incomplete. It's not wrong, but it's incomplete. So you're going to lose points. The final box is the completed factored form. Now for the fourth one, I have to flip my page. I don't have space. Okay, fourth one, let me do it here. Our goal is the same thing. Rewrite that so that we can see what are the 2 bases we have to work with. So 16x to the 4, how do we rewrite? 4x squared. And 89 is what square? 9. So what is our 2 factors? What are the 2 factors we have? 4x squared plus 9. 4x squared minus 9. So we take the 2 bases we have, add them, subtract them. And see, this is more factorable because it's difference of perfect squares. So what square and what square we have here? 4x squared is what square? 2x. And 9 is what square? 3. So what do you get from these 2 bases? 2x plus 3 and 2x minus 3. But we still have this from before, which is not factorable anymore. So we need to bring it down. 4x squared plus 9. So this binomial has 3 factors in total, not 2 factors. Yeah. Question? So definitely we'll have one of these in the exam. In-class exam. And final exam. They love 4th power, so they give one of the 4th power. Now the last 2. X squared plus y squared and x to the power 4 plus y to the power 4. What do you think? Fine, it's not factorable. It's sum. We don't have any rule for sum of perfect squares. We have the rule only for difference of perfect square. So it's not factorable. When something is not factorable, we call them prime. Let me write this nicely. Sum doesn't have factors. They do have factors, but not in normal way. They have factors in weird way, which we don't need to learn. But if you take higher level math, you'll see these are factorable, but for now, it's not factorable. For you guys, life is easy. It's not factorable. What do you think about the next one then? X to the 4 plus y to the 4. Same problem, plus. Plus means not factorable. So only when you have a minus with two perfect squares, then you can factor. Otherwise, you cannot factor. In here, in this class. Let's see what's next. Two rules that is not important for the exam, but they are in the homework and quiz. So you didn't have to memorize them. You can just have them in front of you when you do the homework. These are called cubic, perfect cubic rules. Like the way we have difference of perfect squares, we have sum or difference of perfect cube. The first formula is the sum of perfect cube. When you have two perfect cube numbers, you add their bases, and then you do a square minus ab plus b square. When you have difference of perfect bases, you subtract the bases, and then you add everything else. For example, x cubed minus 125. So we already see x cubed is a perfect cube, x cubed. How about 125? Can you think of a number if you multiply 3 times, turn into 125? 5. So this is x cubed minus 5 cubed. So these are our bases. And it's minus. So we are going to use this formula. The formula says subtract them. So x minus 5. And then it says take the first one square and then the second one square. So first one square is x squared, and then second one square is 5 squared. And then in the middle, add their product. So what's the product of 5 and x? 5x. This is a squared, this is their product, and this is b squared. In other words, we simply have x minus 5 times x squared plus 5x plus 25. Again, you're not going to see this in the exam or final exam, but these are in the homework. And also in my method quiz, I think. Let's do one with the plus. For square, it's a prime, but for cube, it's not a prime. So we have a cube plus 2 cube. That means we're going to use this formula. It says add them, add the bases. So we have base A and base 2. Add them, A plus 2. And then it says first one square plus second one square minus their products. So first term square, second term square, and then subtract their products to it. In other words, a plus 2, a square minus 2a plus 4. We don't use the cubic much in lower level math, but if you take calculus 2, 3, these are helpful. We use cubic function. Any question on any of these? Wow, we are done at 6.4. So homework 6.1, 2, 3, 4. 4 section. Homework and quizzes. And these are just simple math, okay, just factoring. They're not word problems or anything. So enjoy them, okay? Try to enjoy them. And then you're solving quadratic. Solving quadratic means whatever we did so far, do them fast and then set them equal 0. Solve for us. That's it. Okay. So step 1, factor. Step 2, set its factor equals 0. And then step 3, solve for x. That's all you have to do. And if you don't like factoring, now you can use quadratic formula because it's solving. Okay. Let's stop here. We're going to do fact solving in our next class. So my plan for next class is doing solving and word problem. And then you're done in chapter 6. So we can start chapter 7 next Monday. Please do the homework and quizzes, okay? They are very helpful if you want to test this class. Without them, there is no way you can pass this class. Especially if your grades are not good. The exam source. Sure, no problem. Let me stop this.